Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirain Shranvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridantosti Abhadrani Vidunoti Saraswatam Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, Verse 36. Pare vare chaye bhava guna vyaktira karadano nate samvidyate kshemam isha vidvam sita shisham. Synonyms: Pare in the higher status of life, avare in the lower status of life, cha and ye, all those, bhava conceptions, guna material qualities, vyatikarat by interaction, anu following, na never, tesam of them, vidyate exist, shemam correction, isha the supreme lord, vidhamsita destroyed, asisam of the blessings. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We accept as blessings different stages of higher life, distinguishing them from lower states of life. But we should know that such distinctions exist only in relation to the interchanges of the modes of material nature. Actually, these states of life have no permanent existence, for all of them will be destroyed by the Supreme Controller. Purport: in our material existence, we accept a higher form of life as a blessing and a lower form as a curse. This distinction of higher and lower only exists as long as the different material qualities, gunas, interact. In other words, by our good activities, we are elevated to the higher planetary systems or to a higher standard of life, good education, beautiful body, etc. These are the results of pious activities. Similarly, by impious activities, we remain illiterate, get ugly bodies, a poor standard of living, etc. But all these different states of life are under the laws of material nature through the interaction of the qualities of goodness, passion, and ignorance. However, all these qualities will cease to act at the time of the dissolution of the entire cosmic manifestation. The Lord therefore says in Bhagavad Gita 8.16, Abrahma bhuvanaloka punar arvitarjuna amamupetyat kaunteya punar janmana vidyate. Even though we elevate ourselves to the higher planetary system by the scientific advancement of knowledge or by the religious principles of life, great sacrifices, and fruitive activities, at the time of dissolution, these higher planetary systems and life on them will be destroyed. In this verse, the verse Isha Vidvam Sita Shisham indicate that all such blessings will be destroyed by the Supreme Controller. We will not be protected. Our bodies, either in this planet or in another planet, will be destroyed. And again, we will have to remain for millions of years in an unconscious state within the body of Mahavishnu. And again, when the creation is manifested, we have to take birth in different species of life and begin our activities. Therefore, we should not be satisfied simply by a promotion to the higher planetary systems. We should try to get out of the material cosmic manifestation, go to the spiritual world, and take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is our highest achievement. We should not be attracted by anything material, higher or lower, but should consider them all on the same level. Our real engagement should be in inquiring about the real purpose of life and rendering devotion service to the Lord. Thus, we will be eternally blessed in our spiritual activities, full of knowledge and bliss. Regulated human civilization promotes dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. In human society, there must be religion. Without religion, human society is only animal society. Economic development and sense gratification must be based on religious principle. When religion, economic development, and sense gratification are adjusted, liberation from this material birth, death, old age, and disease is assured. In the present age of Kali, however, there is no question of religion and liberation. People have taken interest only in economic development and sense gratification. Therefore, despite sufficient economic development all over the world, dealings in human society have become almost animalistic. When everything becomes grossly animalistic, dissolution takes place. This dissolution is to be accepted as Isha Vidvam Sita Sashim. The Lord's so-called blessings of economic development and sense gratification will be conclusively dissolved by destruction. At the end of this Kali Yuga, the Lord will appear as the incarnation of Kalki, and his only business will be to kill all human beings on the surface of the globe. After that killing, another golden age will begin. We should therefore know that our material activities are just like childish play. Children may play on the beach, and the father will sit and watch this childish play. The construction of buildings with sand, the construction of walls, and so many things. But finally, the father will ask the children to come home. Then everything is destroyed. Persons who are too much addicted to the childish activities of economic development and sense gratification are sometimes especially favored by the Lord when he destroys their construction of these things. It is said by the Lord, Yasyaham anugrahami harisye tada tadhanam sanai. The Lord told Yudhishthira Maharaj that his special favor is shown to his devotee when he takes away all the devotee's material opulences. Generally, therefore, it is experienced that Vaishnavas are not very opulent in the material sense. When a Vaishnava, pure devotee, tries to be material opulent and at the same time desire to serve the Supreme Lord, his devotional service is checked. The Lord, in order to show him a special favor, destroys his so-called economic development and material opulences. Thus, the devotee, being frustrated in his repeated attempts at economic developments, ultimately takes solid shelter under the lotus feet of the Lord. The kind of action may also be accepted as Isha Vidvam Sita Sisham, whereby the Lord destroys one's material opulences but enriches one in spiritual understanding. In the course of our preaching work, we sometimes see that material persons come to us and offer their obeisances to take blessings, which means they want more and more material opulences. If such material opulences are checked, such persons are no longer interested in offering obeisances to the devotees. Such materialistic people are always concerned about their economic development. They offer obeisances to saintly persons or the Supreme Lord and give something in charity for preaching work with a view that they will be awarded with further economic development. However, when one is sincere in his devotional service, the Lord obliges the devotee to give up his material development and completely surrender unto him. Because the Lord does not give blessings of material opulence to his devotee, people are afraid of worshipping Lord Vishnu because they see that the Vaishnavas who are worshippers of Lord Vishnu are poor in superficial material opulences. Such materialistic persons, however, get immense opportunity for the economic development by worshipping Lord Shiva, for Lord Shiva is the husband of the goddesses Durga, the proprietor of this universe. By the grace of Lord Shiva, a devotee gets the opportunity to be blessed by the goddesses Durga. Ravana, for example, was a great worshipper and devotee of Lord Shiva, and in return, he got all the blessings of goddesses Durga, so much that his whole kingdom was constructed of golden buildings. In Brazil, in this present age, huge quantities of gold have been found. And from historical references in the Puranas, we can guess safely that this was Ravana's kingdom. This kingdom was, however, destroyed by Lord Ramachandra. By studying such incidents, we can understand the full meaning of Isha Vidvamsita Sisam. The Lord does not bestow material blessings upon the devotees, for they may be entrapped again in this material world by continuous birth, death, old age, and disease. Due to materialistic opulences, persons like Ravana become puffed up for sense gratification. Ravana even dared kidnap Sita, who was both the wife of Lord Ramachandra and the goddesses of fortune, thinking that he would be able to enjoy the pleasure potency of the Lord. But actually, by such action, Ravana became Vidamsita, or ruined. At the present moment, human civilization is too much attracted to economic development and sense gratification, and is therefore nearing the path of ruination. End of purport. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. I'm thankful for the opportunity to read and explain my realizations about this verse this morning, and also please bless me so I can speak in the right mood and in the right set of mind, just so I don't have my own concoctions while speaking on this verse. So here in this verse, we have come to verse 36 of chapter 22, where we see that the conversation is between Sanat Kumar and King Prutu. Sanat Kumar had visited King Prutu and he asked two questions, right? How can those in material existence, such as householders, be blessed with good fortune? And then how can one make quick advancement in spiritual life? I thought that these two questions are very much applicable even for us, because mostly everybody on this call today, is a grahastha. So these two questions are very much relevant for us. And then when those questions were asked, as usual, like Sanat Kumar, like the elevated devotees are always very, very happy to hear these meaningful questions. So King Prutu, there was huge appreciation expressed about the great questions that King Prutu asked. And then basically the explanation was given by Sanat Kumar, the four Kumaras, about the spiritual advancement. Emphasis was given about the first question, how can one make material exist? Like, how can the householders be blessed with good fortune? To that, they respond that King Prutu doesn't even need good fortune because he's already a surrendered soul. He's the Saktavesh avatar of the Lord, so he doesn't even need that. But then they definitely emphasize the need to have saintly association. And whenever we take shelter of Guru, shelter of holy senior devotees and such, that is the opportunity given by Krishna in order to really be having that good fortune. That is the good fortune of having association of senior devotees. And also he awards that special mercy only to special souls, right? That's the mercy. We have to understand that. So that was the first thing that they answered. And then regarding the second question, how can make quick advancement in spiritual life? So that's where they explain about the spiritual advancement, that it can be done by pure devotional service. So then the steps are listed, where the first is accepting a bona fide spiritual master and inquiring from him. And then hearing about Krishna favorably in association of devotees, removing anything negative that impedes bhakti, including association with materialistic persons. And it was also emphasized as Srila Prabhupada that just removing the materialistic mindset and materialistic association is not enough, but rather becoming fixed in devotional service by hearing about the Lord and converting all that attraction we have to material desires into spiritual desires, and then taking shelter of the lotus feet. So those were the steps that were explained by Sanat Kumar. And coming down to this verse, basically in verse 36, this verse is really talking about the temporary nature of the material world. So many of the themes are coming into light in this verse. Is that first it talks about the karma, right? That we see that why is it that several people have very good opportunity in life, very high standard of living, and all of it. I mean, we can relate to that, right? Like we all started off, I don't know about you, but I definitely started off like not in a very high economic background back in India. But then slowly, gradually, as things progressed, life changed and opportunities became more and more to me. And, today where we are in this, higher standard of living and all of it. So what was that? It was definitely karma acting in the life, So that's exactly what is being explained in the beginning of this purport. Explanation about karma. But then we are to understand that when we talk about the higher standard of living, a beautiful body, this and that, and opportunities and everything, we are to understand that all of this is still really the material modes, right? Because it may be that somebody is living in a very poor hut or poor whatever, but they may be much more happier, or they may be much more connected to Krishna than somebody. And definitely we know that. In fact, Queen Kunti in her prayers, she also mentions that all of these are really impediments to spiritual service. Having a beautiful body, having high intelligence, having high wealth, and all of these are really impediments. The more we can be renounced, the more we can be really in that completely renunciated state. In fact, that's where we get more closer to Krishna. And that's the only reason why Queen Kunti also in her prayers keeps asking for more and more material, more and more miseries, more and more trouble in her life. It's not like she likes trouble, but it's because she would be connected more with Krishna. So that's the thing about karma, understanding how karma plays in the life and understanding that in the big scheme of things, really this is not pertinent, especially when we are focusing towards spiritual life. Nature of the world being temporary. Srila Prabhupada emphasizes that even if we do all pious activities and all of this, we are still being elevated to the higher planetary system. It is still going to be coming down. My Guru Maharaj will always give the example of how it is like a Ferris wheel. You keep going up, 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 and then you keep coming down, down. So it's just like a circle. You just keep rotating through the cycle of birth and death. But really, our goal should be getting back to the spiritual world. And that's the real goal of life. And then the verse also talks about the Lord's special mercy, right? It talks a lot about the detachment, about how King Yudhishthir spoke about that when Lord has special mercy to a devotee, he takes away everything from him. Basically, that's what it is. And we see the example of Bari Maharaj. So by the grace of Prahlad Maharaj, he got the seed of devotional service. And then when he had achieved the ultimate fruit of that service, immediately what happened? Lord Vamandev appeared. And then Bali Maharaj, he maintained that continuous devotion, right? He was completely purified. And then what did he respond? How did he respond, right? He basically said that I will give this little dwarf Brahmana whatever he asks from me. And that was a sign of love. So Bali Maharaj is the classic example where he completely surrendered to the Lord. So all this opulence, all his strength, everything that he acquired, everything, just like a fraction of a second, nothing mattered to him anymore. Everything he surrendered unto the lotus feet of the Lord. So that is what it is. So he also offered the prayer that, my dear Lord, you're so merciful that in spite of me being reluctant to associate with your pure devotee, you have shown your extreme mercy. So that's what it is with Bali Maharaj example. And looks like we are running out of time. But I did have one other example also about King Muchukunda. When Lord Krishna appeared in that cave, after Muchukunda opened his eyes and how Kalyavan gets destroyed. After that, he offers very beautiful prayers to Lord Krishna. In that, he says that because of his causeless mercy, he lost all the material opulence because of Krishna's mercy. He lost his kingdom, his family, and I do not think I could have gotten rid of all these entanglements without your causeless mercy. So King Muchukunda really looked at losing all of this as special mercy by Lord Krishna. So I was just reflecting too, right? In our lives, when we have challenges, when we have turbulences, when we have all of that, I think that is really the test of Krishna to see exactly how we can progress. And all of that is to be considered as special mercy of Krishna rather than thinking that this is all karma playing out in my life and I'm suffering and all of that. Although it is true, but how a devotee looks at it is that this is all special mercy of the Lord, just so we can become closer to the Lord and have develop more and more towards our faith and then surrender to the Lord. So with that, I'll like to end here. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavi